Hello, friends. Hope you're doing great. In the next 10-15 minutes, I'm going to take you through the story of Tony Hsieh, who was the CEO of Zappos, a famous online shoe company which is valued at over more than $1 billion, I guess. And during my last Easter holidays, I read this book called Delivering Happiness by Tony. This video is dedicated to him because Tony passed away. It was really sad to also in the end of this book when I researched about him. It was sad to know that he passed away. He really left a legacy behind because I learned a ton from this book. It was really like a movie, felt like going through a movie. And I thought it would be interesting to share some of the learnings with you. So, Tony started during his school days itself, he was really entrepreneurial. He started his first business in maybe in the high school or something. And the first thing he did was, we received these magazines at home, right? And at the back of the magazines, there is always an advertisement page. So what he did was, the magazine he got at home was a magazine for free gifts for kids. And what he did was he bought a kit which was advertised on the magazine, and it was like a $50 kit. And what the kit does is it converts any image into like a button using this kit. And basically people will place orders through mail. And that was another interesting thing I learned in the 90s. People used to buy stuff through mailboxes. So you will get orders through mailboxes and they try to fulfill them. So his idea was that he buy this kit for $50, and then creating a button would cost 20 cents, and then he would sell it for create a button and send it back to the shopper for $1, and he makes like 70 to 80 profit, I think, in that process. And for that he had to really convince the publisher to advertise, because he is like a kid, right? A kid in the school. And how can a publisher advertise a product from such a small kid? So he pretended to be a person who runs already a business, and that's how he got an advertisement placed on this magazine. And that was interesting. That got me thinking also, if you are a parent, please give exposure to your kids to these kind of interesting things, because doing these kind of small side hustle businesses is how kids learn things like marketing, like real life experiences, right? All the academics is more of theoretical. So I thought any parent should really encourage, and really felt proud for his parents. And so he started with this button business. He started with getting one order, and then it became to 10, 100. So he was able to return the money back to his parents. He really borrowed $50 from his parents, and his parents never thought that he would get any order through through mail. And yeah, he was able to return that. And that was interesting, the first beginning. And then he went to the college, and then he met his friend called Sanjay there. Both of them got placed in Oracle in the testing department, and they used to work like 2 hours, running the testing scripts. And it's automation scripts, right? They will keep running, and you have a lot of free time. So the guys really got bored and decided to do something together. So they started this business of creating websites for small businesses. That was also an interesting thing I noticed his entire journey. Any business he started, he always had a clarity on the go to market. He always had a clarity on how to acquire customers. And probably because he's more of sales and business development mindset person, it was very interesting. As you can see in the first business, even though he was like a school kid, he was smart enough to understand that you can acquire customers by advertising on the magazine, which is quite not very common. And in the second business, when they did wrote websites for the small businesses, the interesting fact was their idea was that they go and pitch the idea to the business association that used to, there are associations for small businesses, right? And their target was really like a mall, a shopping mall. And the first thing they did is they went, like Tony really went and convinced, did a presentation to that association and convinced them to buy, work with them so that they can actually produce the website for the association. And if they do the website for the association for free, automatically the association has the incentive to advertise them in their network, right? And so they will be able to acquire users, all the small businesses who are coming under that association. That's what they exactly did. So they went through a phase of building the website for them, and then after that, through association, they got the contacts to the people, and then they contacted them and said, hey, we are the guys who have built the website for this association. Can you know in the it's now internet era. This is probably during the dot-com bubble, I think. So it's internet era. Every company out there is having websites now, so you should also probably try to consider creative publishing a website. And so they convinced like few customers and started working on it. They got very excited, and so they decided to quit from Oracle. And they, after quitting, they suddenly realized when they started full-time working, this is not that fun actually. And I mean, this has occurred to me also. I mean, in the beginning, when we do things as a side hustle, we will think that, okay, when I go full-time, this is like super passion. This is a full-time passion. I'm doing just my passion, right? So, but the fact is, when you start spending like 6-7 hours, you also start getting some level of boredom, and you really realize that, is this business really for me? This is exactly what happened to them as well. When they started building the websites for these companies, they started asking, like, why are we actually doing this? And we don't seem to have fun because people have bugs and they keep calling and all this stuff. So they decided to shut that website, that service down. It's almost like a service, right? It's not a service business down. And then the third thing, the next idea that's extremely interesting. So they came up with the idea called Link Exchange, which then eventually became, did a massive exit of 265 million from Microsoft. So the Link Exchange idea initially was that they were trying to build an ad network for small businesses, because if you are a small business, small medium business, then typically buying ads are very expensive, right? And also buying internet ads at that time should be very, very expensive probably. And during the dot-com era, I think they really created an ad network where people can join and they get a code from them, and they embed the code in their website, and you are actually showing the ads. Being part of the network, you are obliged to show ads of the other members, and if you show the ads of other members, you get credits, and then in return for credits, your website will be advertised in the member websites. So the more people join the network, the ad network will grow, and you as a member, your visibility in the network will increase, right? So they started and this is really like, if you have read the book called Network Effects, you might have already seen several examples of this. These kind of businesses have massive network effects. So this is a heavily network effect driven business, and so you can see that from the beginning, like, okay, a few companies join and they keep on automatically growing like a snowball, because the more companies come to the platform, the bigger the value of the network increases, right? So so this thing started automatically growing actually, and nobody is paying. There's no customers are not paying, yeah. So there is no revenue, but the network is growing. So the idea is that the network grows and eventually it becomes a massive ad network. They can go to the corporates and say that, hey, look, we have this massive ad network. Will you just give us money to advertise on this network? And then they will take a cut of it, right? So that's a business model. So initial phase, they spend a significant amount of time building the ad network, convincing companies to join the network to help each other to advertise. So the system, the network started growing on its own organically, more and more companies joining, and one day they got a call, and it was from somebody who is very rich, and until that point they have never thought about the value of their business, and they got a call from somebody who was like running a restaurant or something, very popular guy, and then he called them to his restaurant and had a meeting, and he said he want to acquire the company, and they were shocked. and they asked how much, how much he would give. And then I think he said something like $2 million. And for them at that stage, getting a $2 million exit was that's quite a big number, right? So they were just like, wow. And they went back, and then they started negotiating. They thought, okay, maybe we are building something going to be really big, because that guy told them that the investor who wanted to acquire the company told them that, look, this is like a lifetime, link exchange is like a lifetime, one time thing. It doesn't happen often, so you guys should take decision properly. And so they went back, they thought about it, and then they decided, okay, maybe we keep on growing, we don't take this exit. And so they went and told the buyer that, okay, we don't want to exit. They kept on building the platform. It kept on automatically growing, and eventually, after some time, they got, I think, another acquisition request, and that was from Yahoo, and that was for $40 million. And after that, maybe after or before that, Sequoia invested on them, and then it became really like a big thing. The company became big and went viral, and um, kept on growing, but they also started hiring really fast. And this is something also from my past experiences, I have seen. I think whenever you go into the hyper growth mode, you start hiring significant amount of people, and more people. The more people come to the company culture really become like, becomes really bad, because a lot of people, most people don't know each other, and there is politics, this, that, and all this stuff. So the overall company culture becomes, goes down, and there is always a chance of companies going bust. There are several examples of many companies who have gone bust in this way. So typical pattern is nothing new to me, I have heard that. And he said, one day he would just stop the alarm in the morning to go to the, when he was working in an office, he used to stop the alarm, because he doesn't like going to the office, right? But now he was saying like, it's my own company, and it was like a sudden realization that I really don't feel like going to my own company. And because I don't recognize people there. The team has grown really big, and so you can see his emotional disconnect actually from what he built. And eventually what happened was, I think they couldn't raise funds or something, and they got this offer, and he was saying like, in order to put a price for the offer, they just said 250 million, like a random number. I don't know nowadays, it's because I have also gone through exit, there are proper valuations based on your revenue, etc. But this time, because it's a ad network, probably that's why they gave a big number of 265 million. They did an exit, and he just got a lot of money. And he had to continue there in the company, because as a part of the acquisition, you're always like having a contract to continue for X period of time. You get some money, I think, upfront, and then after, the rest of the money you get only after continuing with the company for the next 1 year. And if you don't continue, then you will lose X amount or X percentage, or maybe like 20% or something he will lose, and that's in millions. Yeah. So I think he might have made somewhere around 30-40 million or something like this in this deal. And he continued there, and he mentioned also this process of founders sticking with a company after the exit for 1 year just to complete the contract period is called vest in peace. uh, and it's like a common thing in the valley. That was also interesting thing to learn, thing to know. And he continued there for almost an I think almost some months, and then he quickly realized that I need to go out. So he started a venture fund after this, called, I think it was something like Venture Frogs or something, and with his friends. And then he met another founder, called Nick, who wanted to build an online shoe company called Zappos. And that's how he got into Zappos. Probably the Zappos story in itself is like a big thing, I can tell you in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed the video until this point. I'll just also continue the story because it's very interesting, a lot of learnings. Thanks a lot for your time. Bye bye.